The zoo hypothesis. Imagine you're walking through a dense forest. You know it's filled with birds, insects, and predators, but as you walk, you realize something's wrong. It's quiet. Not a single bird chirp. No rustling in the leaves. That feeling in your gut. That's what scientists feel when they look at space. The universe is 13 billion years old. It's packed with trillions of planets. By all accounts, space should be loud. It should be a chaotic radio mess of alien broadcasts and massive megastructures. But instead, nothing. Just a haunting, great silence. This isn't just imagination. Scientists call it the Fermi Paradox, the contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the complete lack of evidence. And that's where the zoo hypothesis enters the scene. Proposed by Harvard researcher John Ball in 1973, it offers a chilling possibility. The silence isn't an accident, it could be deliberate. Think about how we study a rare aggressive species of wolf. We don't walk into the middle of the pack to say hi. We use high-tech blinds, hidden cameras, and one-way mirrors. We want them to act natural. Under the zoo hypothesis, Earth is that wolf den. The advanced civilizations out there aren't just hiding. If the theory is correct, they could remain undetectable intentionally. Some scientists speculate they might have the technology to mask their signals, bend light around ships, or make their star systems appear lifeless. We don't know if this is true. It's a hypothesis, but the logic is consistent with what we observe. When you look through a telescope, you think you're seeing the real universe. But what if you're just looking at the back of a one-way mirror? The hypothesis suggests we could be under observation, much like animals in a controlled habitat. The theory doesn't require aliens to exist or to be actively hiding. It only proposes that if civilizations are advanced enough, silence could be intentional. Now ask yourself, how do they keep the secret so well? If there are thousands of alien races, wouldn't one of them just accidentally send a hello text? Some interpretations imagine a galactic club, a collective of civilizations agreeing not to interfere with developing planets. They might follow a kind of non-interference treaty. We could be in a high-security isolation ward, unaware of the rules, while the guards observe quietly. This galactic club is not proven. It's an extrapolation some scientists use to help visualize coordination among advanced civilizations. Even without confirmation, the thought is chilling. We could be monitored, and any rogue signals from other civilizations might be suppressed or ignored. But here is the question that should keep you up at night. Why are we being watched? In a zoo, you keep animals for two reasons: because they're fascinating, or because they're dangerous. If we're the fascination, advanced civilizations might just be observing our development, waiting to see if we destroy ourselves or level up. If we're considered dangerous, then maybe the rest of the galaxy is peaceful, and they saw how we treated each other, how we developed nuclear weapons before we even learned to feed our own people. If the zoo hypothesis is correct, the silence wouldn't be protecting us from the universe, it might be protecting the universe from us. The dark forest theory. What if the reason we haven't found aliens isn't because they don't exist, but because they're terrified? To understand this, we have to look at Liu Cixin's work and his concept of cosmic sociology. This isn't a theory about evil aliens, it's based on two logical principles that could govern any civilization. First one is survival is the primary need of any civilization. Second one is civilizations continuously grow, but the total matter in the universe remains constant. Together, this creates a zero-sum game. Because resources like usable energy and habitable planets are limited, the growth of one species eventually threatens the survival of another. In the eyes of the universe, we aren't neighbors, we are competitors, all fighting for the same finite supply of life. But if survival is everything, why not just talk to each other? Here's where the prison bars of reality come in, and they are built by the speed of light. Nothing can travel faster, which makes diplomacy between stars essentially impossible. When two civilizations discover each other, they enter what Liu Cixin calls a chain of suspicion. If we detect a signal from a planet 100 light-years away, we are seeing their past, not their present. Even if they send a peaceful message, that message is already a century old by the time it reaches us. Then comes the technological explosion. A civilization can go from steam engines to nuclear weapons in a few centuries, a blink of an eye in cosmic terms. By the time we reach out to be friendly, that weaker civilization might have already surpassed us. In this prison, uncertainty is a death sentence. So what do you do when you can't trust anyone? You follow the logic of the preemptive strike. In the dark forest, a strike isn't a war. It's cold and mechanical. Advanced civilizations might use relativistic kinetic aerospace vehicles, massive objects sent near light speed, carrying enough energy to destroy a planet or sun on impact. No soldiers, no warning, just cleaning. The goal isn't to win a war. The goal is to eliminate a potential threat before it even knows you exist. And this is exactly why the universe appears so silent. It's not empty. It's a dark forest. Imagine a forest at night. It's full of silent hunters. Each hunter moves with total stealth because they know that somewhere out there, other hunters are listening. If a hunter finds a life form, there is only one choice: eliminate it before it reveals their position. Humanity has spent the last century broadcasting radio waves, shouting into the dark. We are like prisoners who don't realize the other inmates are staying silent to avoid being caught. We haven't found anyone because the smartest civilizations understand the harshest rule of the cosmos. Being seen is the same as being dead. We aren't alone. We're just the only ones foolish enough to announce our location. The simulation hypothesis. Imagine you're playing a highly advanced video game. The characters inside believe their world is solid. They obey the physics of their game, never realizing that their entire reality is actually just information processed by a system they cannot see. What if we are those characters? This is the simulation hypothesis, popularized by Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom in 2003. The theory suggests that if a civilization becomes advanced enough, they could create ancestor simulations, digital universes realistic enough to contain conscious beings. If thousands of such simulations exist, it becomes statistically plausible that we might be living in a simulated universe rather than the base reality. In a digital image, if you zoom in far enough, the picture breaks down into tiny squares called pixels. Some physicists point out that our universe may have a kind of granularity as well. At the Planck length, current physics indicates a smallest meaningful scale of distance. Beyond this, our equations no longer describe space-time in the usual way. While this is not proof of a simulation, some argue it is analogous to the finite resolution of a computer program. Every computer has a maximum rate at which it can process information. In our universe, the speed of light is the ultimate speed limit for the transmission of information. Some supporters of the simulation hypothesis draw an analogy between this cosmic speed limit and a system's maximum processing capacity. It's important to note that in physics, this limit is a property of spacetime itself, not evidence of a computational system. But the metaphor helps illustrate how the universe could function as a program. In quantum mechanics, certain particles do not settle into a definite state until they interact with a measuring system. Some proponents compare this to rendering in video games, where objects are only calculated when they are observed to save processing resources. Again, this is an analogy, not evidence. Physics describes this behavior mathematically, not as an intentional optimization, but the comparison makes the idea of a programmed universe easier to visualize. If our universe were a simulation, we could be entirely at the mercy of an external system or administrator. The simulation might have been designed to reach a particular outcome, and once that outcome is achieved, or if the system shuts down, our reality could end instantly, without warning. Every star, every memory, and every life could vanish, and we wouldn't even know it. This is purely speculative, but it highlights the eerie sense of powerlessness inherent in the simulation hypothesis. The simulation hypothesis suggests that our prison isn't made of walls, but of mathematics and information. We may not be the masters of our reality. We could be the data running inside a larger system. The Great Filter. Imagine you are looking at a massive ancient wall. On your side, the ground is covered in millions of footprints leading toward the wall. But when you look at the top, there is nothing. Not a single person has made it over. You realize that to survive, you have to climb it, but you have no idea what's on the other side, or why everyone else failed. In the search for alien life, scientists call this wall the Great Filter. The universe is billions of years old and contains trillions of planets. Logically, the stars should be crowded with advanced civilizations, yet we see nothing. The Great Filter theory, proposed by economist Robin Hanson, suggests there is a barrier so difficult to pass that it stops almost all life from becoming a spacefaring civilization. It's the ultimate prison guard of the universe, and we are currently standing right in front of it. The theory suggests that the development of life has to pass through several steps, like the jump from single cells to complex animals, or from using tools to using electricity. Somewhere along this timeline, there is a step that is nearly impossible to beat. This is the filter. It is a death trap that wipes out civilizations before they can leave their home planet. The biological filter suggests that the leap from simple bacteria to complex life is so profoundly rare, it may only occur once in a billion galaxies. Alternatively, the technological filter implies that as soon as a species learns to harness massive energy like nuclear power or AI, they inevitably use it to destroy themselves. The reason we don't hear alien broadcasts isn't because they aren't there. It's because they didn't make it. Under this theory, the great silence of space is actually a galactic graveyard. Every time we point our telescopes at a distant, silent star, we might be looking at a world where a civilization hit the wall and vanished. Our prison is our own limitations. We are locked on Earth not by a cage, but by the fact that we haven't yet proven we can survive our own progress. So the real question isn't whether the great filter exists. It's where we are compared to it. There are only two possibilities. The first is the hopeful one. The filter is behind us. Somewhere in Earth's past, we already beat the impossible odds. Maybe the moment life first appeared, or when simple cells became complex ones. If that's true, then we're incredibly rare. And lucky. Possibly the first to ever make it this far. But there's a second possibility, and it's far more disturbing. The filter might be ahead of us. That would mean life isn't rare at all. Survival is. Civilizations keep reaching our level, and then they fail. If we ever discover simple life on Mars or Europa, it wouldn't be good news under this theory. It would mean life is easy to start, which implies the real barrier is still waiting for us in the future. And whatever that barrier is, almost no one makes it past. The self-limiting civilization. Imagine a bird born inside a massive golden cage. The door is wide open. There are no guards, no locks, and no predators. But the bird never flies out. Why? Because it has become so obsessed with the seeds on the floor and the shiny toys hanging from the roof that it has forgotten the sky even exists. This is the self-limiting civilization theory. It suggests that the prison of our universe isn't a physical wall built by aliens, it's a psychological one built by us. For decades, we've assumed that as civilizations get smarter, they will naturally want to conquer the stars. But what if that's wrong? Some scientists and thinkers suggest that advanced species eventually reach a point where they stop looking outward and start looking inward. This is often linked to the internalization or transcendence hypothesis. Think about our own world. We are already moving away from physical exploration and toward digital perfection. Why spend 500 years traveling to a cold, dead planet when you can build a perfect, hyper-realistic virtual paradise right here on Earth? Under this theory, civilizations don't go extinct. They just go offline. They retreat into supercomputers, living for billions of years in a simulated heaven, leaving the rest of the universe empty and silent. This isn't a prison of iron, it's a prison of pleasure. In this scenario, the silence of the universe is actually the sound of trillions of beings living in a digital dream. They have no reason to broadcast radio signals or build massive starships because they have everything they need inside their own machines. This creates a stagnation trap. A civilization might become so efficient at solving its own problems, curing disease, ending hunger, and creating entertainment, that it loses the survival drive that pushed it to explore in the first place. We stay on Earth not because we can't leave, but because we've lost the will to try. But here is the chilling part. What if this is an inevitable trap for every intelligent species? Think about the path we are on right now. Every year, our telescopes get better, but our interest in physically going to space seems to struggle against the pull of our screens. If every civilization eventually chooses the digital womb over the cosmic frontier, then the universe will always look like a wasteland.